Yeah, they don't lie. But what they forget to tell you is people do. Like, the lies have to stop.
Yeah, the lies definitely got to stop. What's going on? This is Angie from Snatch Investigations. And today we're going to be talking about the Brother Polight case. If you're like me, you have been looking through YouTube and Brother Polight has been all down your algorithm, excuse me. And for some reason, major outlets like Court TV are not covering the case. So we have to do it here in the corners of YouTube. But let's first start with who is Brother Polight? So, if you're not a part of the conscious community, you've probably first seen Brother Polight on this interview right here with the Breakfast Club, where he was a guest of Meta World Peace. Meta World Peace was talking about his newfound lifestyle and healthier and higher versions of himself. And he introduced us to Brother Polight, who was his mentor, who was the man that made this major shift in Meta's life. From there, Brother Polight buoyed into the circles of your favorite celebrities, ending up in the Floyd Mayweather camp. But as of recently, we all have been paying attention to Brother Polight because back in August, there was this big news story. This story is from August 19th out of Miami, NBC Miami, where it says motivational speaker arrested for February assault of a teen in Miami Beach. And that's what we'll be talking about today. I'm hoping that this is a place where we can just stick to the facts, kind of get a little backstory on what's going on. And as the case unfolds, we'll have more information. This definitely is not going away. But let's get a little bit into the key characters of this case because a lot of names have been thrown around. And if you're not a part of the conscious community or a devout follower of Brother Polight, you may not be able to put all this together. It's like Sudoku. So first we have Brother Polight, aka Michael Noak. Remember that name. His legal name is Michael Noak. I'll interchangeably go between Brother Polight and Michael Noak, depending on what type of documents I'm reading. Down under him in the green, you have Amunet, aka Juliet Smalls. I believe that this is his actual legal wife. Though he has many wives or claims many wives, we live in the United States of America where polygamy is illegal. I believe that he does something like a marriage contract with them, but that's not legally binding. However, Amunet, they just celebrate a 23-year marriage anniversary. Then we have Raet, aka Jessica Casey. They've been together, I think I saw that Polight said around 14 plus years. And through looking through some other cases that he had evictions, these two were also on leases. So I believe that these are like his ride or die. At the bottom, we have Arocho, aka Linda Arocho. She is the woman that this case is about. It is about her 14-year-old daughter, allegedly, that Polight sexually molested. We'll get a little bit more into her as well, a little background. Next, we have Kimberly Kane. Kimberly Kane is someone that stick a pin in Kimberly Kane. You may not hear a lot about her as we go on in the videos, but I do want to get something out first. Raleigh Savage, that is one of his wives. You don't see a lot of photos of her. I feel like she either may live in a different state or just travels a lot. Lola Savage. Lola is the sister of Raleigh. She is not one of Polight's wives, but she is someone that I want to keep an eye on that I think may come about as a witness moving forward. But I do want to talk about Kimberly Kane because I feel like Kimberly Kane and Linda Arocho have been there's been a mix-up. People are thinking that Kimberly is the mother of the alleged 14-year-old, and that is not the case. I tracked down kind of when did Kimberly first come about. I first found an interaction between Kimberly and Polight his birthday last year, 2020. It was called the Entanglement Party, which is kind of gross. But It was last year in which she was hosting the party. You can see the flyer that she posted where she was hosting Brother Polight's birthday party. And then on the left-hand side, it's a picture of her and Yannette in a bed with Polight at that same birthday party. So if you look at what Yannette and Polight have on, I want you to check out this video from that birthday party.
It's not mine. You still claim it's your brain when you drink, so then why am I finding bottles of red wine half empty in the bathroom? Maybe I'm better off without you.
Okay, so you saw what they have on. We confirmed that this is the same birthday party. Linda was at the birthday party. I will say that Kimberly wasn't a wife then, only because if you notice, like Versace print is their thing, and she didn't have that on at the party, and he loves to match, as we know. This is a picture he posted with Riot and Linda on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side it's all three of them together. So I wanted to put that out there so then you would know that Kimberly, we can confirm now that Kimberly and Linda are two different people. So you may want to delete your comments under her page because that is not them. And I actually have a video from earlier this year with Linda, Yannette, and Riot to give you a better idea of Linda and who Linda is, their personality, and that she was definitely one of the wives.
Just want to be broke. We gotta walk. Yeah, you got a man in the walk video now.
Are we done?
Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, this is Linda. This is Linda Arocho, whose daughter this case is about. I know that there hasn't been a lot of photos about Linda, but it is clear to me that her and Polight did have a relationship and that she was considered one of his wives. So with her being considered one of his wives, I would assume that he would have had a relationship with her daughter. However, I don't think that he gives me, anyway, any type of vibe that he would be a role model or someone that I would have my daughter around. However, we don't know anyone's personal relationships to comment or to judge, to judge someone. So this is from Linda's birthday. He took her away for her birthday. And let me see if I can. This is another picture of Polight and Linda. And the crazy part is I got this off of Polight's page. So he hasn't deleted any of these things. This is from her birthday. He gave her a birthday shout out on the post. I thought that this picture was interesting because this is another picture he posted. He loves his scarves and hats. He clearly doesn't like his head much. But I digress. I thought this picture was interesting because if you notice, she has Polight's name tattooed on her. So she was definitely someone that was loyal to him and definitely loved him, clearly, for her to have his name tattooed on her. So let's get into the charges. So let me transfer. Here we go. So let's get into the charges really quickly. So as you can see, Brother Polight is facing 6 charges. Actually 5 charges. Let me pull this up better so I can see it, and then I can't really see it, guys, so give me a second. Okay, here we go. So where we are currently is Polight is facing 5 charges. I have heard so many people talk about that charges were dropped. No, his charges were modified. And I want to be very clear about that because I have some court background. Even after these charges that he's facing right now, they're done, whether it's guilty or not guilty, just for sake of the argument that I'm trying to make right now. Say it came back not guilty. You would still have to then go through another court department to get it expunged from your record. So these things are still live and active and are still on his record. Now, the charges that were modified was the sexual battery and engaging with sex with a minor. Those charges were changed to molestation, child molestation, a child between 12 and 16, and lewd and lascivious conducts with the child under 16. So they were modified. I think we're so caught up and dropped. And if you could see from let's go down. If you're looking at the docket, right? So what happens is your charges go in first. That is on the police. We watch Law and Order. But then you go before the court and for arraignment. That's when the court is arraigning you on these charges. By the time he got to arraignment, the charges had already been modified. So what they dealt with in arraignment, and what that means when I say the charges have already been modified, what you do is you file it with the clerk's office. The clerk's office puts it in the jacket as the docket. So the prosecutor is already trying to modify it, but it is not officially modified until going before the court, until going before the judge, because now we're arraigning you on these charges. And as you can see, on August 18th, they filed a motion to dismiss, but it was clearly denied because these charges are still moving forward. What happened at his court date on the 15th and then I think on the 17th was they ordered the stay away, as well as they went over and arraigned him on those new charges, on those modified charges, which also, and they increased his bail. They gave him, for the first felony count, they gave him a $10,000 bond. The second one was a $10,000 bond. The third charge was a $10,000 bond. The fourth charge was a $1,000 bond, I believe. And the fifth charge was a $5,000 bond. Nevertheless, it totaled $46,000. He had already had a bond issued earlier of $21,000, meaning that he has a bond left over of $25,000. That doesn't necessarily mean that he has to pay $25,000, because then he would either pay that to the court or he would go back to the bail bondsman that he used, and the bail bondsman would usually decide what that rate is for that additional $25,000. This is the part that I want to get into really quick, because I think that we have to wait for the case to unfold to really dive deep into those charges. And I did put in a request for the documents. You can usually request documents. So I wanted to get into this picture right here. This picture is from February the 19th. February 19th, remember that date? That was Floyd Mayweather's birthday party. Now, remember in the beginning of this video, I talked about the key characters and why I thought it was important for us to discuss those key characters. Okay, so here's why. Let's name everyone in this picture. We have Linda. I'm going to go clockwise, starting from Polight in the middle. I'll start from Linda. Then we have Riot. In the back with the mask, that is Lola Savage, the sister of Raleigh. Then we have Raleigh Savage, and then we have Amunet. All of these women attended the party February 19th, and I think that they will become important because they would have to verify when they actually left Miami, because if this is the 19th and we see Linda or Orocho there, the incident happened on February 27th at 2 o'clock in the morning. That means that Linda was there from the 19th to the 27th. Now, was she the only one that stayed behind, or did everyone else stay behind? What days did everyone leave? Who was there on the 26th? I think these ladies will end up being witnesses. And I don't know how well that will work out for Polight, seeing as though polygamy is not legal in the United States. So if he is legally married to Amunet, then their private conversations are sacred and confidential. However, every other conversation with any of these ladies is on the table and is fair game. And I would not be surprised if down the line we don't hear about statements they've made to prosecutors, or they're not called in his defense. I believe he'll probably call him in his defense. This is February 19th. Now, I'm not sure if this is an after party or if this is later. I'm not sure, because I found this picture from February 19th with Polight and Arocho by themselves, seeing as though maybe he took her to the private dinner that Polight was having, that Mayweather was having, and that they maybe met up with the rest of the ladies later. I don't know how it works. I'm not in a polygamous marriage. I do know that they usually have their own rooms. They have their own spaces, and I don't know if he knocks on the door or they all meet up. But this is also from that same night, February 19th, at Floyd Mayweather's private dinner in Miami. So that's something that I think is important for us to remember, that all of these women were in Miami on February 19th. Did they leave prior to the 27th? And I'm going to say, did they leave prior to the 26th? Because remember, this happened at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 27th, and it was supposedly an after party. Now, if you've been watching the case like I have, you have seen these two people. And I'm going to do a video on them. This is going to be my next video, because these are the attorneys in the case that we've been introduced to so far. Polight has another attorney as well. Nicole Garcia, she is the prosecutor on the case. She is the assistant district attorney in Miami. I think she is really laying out, and what most people don't get is that court is very clinical. It is not emotional. Emotions do not work in court. Emotions work in the court of public opinion. But one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to piss off the judge. You don't want to annoy the judge by not looking prepared, and you don't want to annoy the judge by being too overzealous. And I think that Miss Garcia caught herself, because if you notice, if you did watch his hearing, in which I'll put the link below, if you notice, the judge in just a split second agreed with Polight's defense counsel about being bombarded with information, and she read the energy in the space and pulled back and said, "Oh, I apologize, Your Honor, because I wouldn't want to bombard you with information." So you have to understand, it is very clinical. Judges have many cases, and a lot of times they rely on their clerk to get that information to them. Now, why I'm going to do another video on the attorneys separately is because Polight's attorney is a very interesting character. He is not a pushover by any means. And from just a little bit that I've kind of attained on him, he likes to defend slimy characters. And it's so crazy. I guess he's a success story too, in a way, because to come from the public defender's office, probably making minimum wage, to now handling the biggest cases of fraud, of pornography, sex trafficking. I mean, the things that he is into as a defense attorney, and even some of his reviews are, he's the person you'd want in your darkest corner at your darkest hour. I don't want to go in anyone's dark corner, but I do find it interesting that he took this case, and that his background is so much around the grimiest of crimes. So we'll get into that, but I just wanted to do this intro video so that we could have a better understanding of who the players are, and then we can kind of break it down as the court cases unfold. There have been so many people doing some awesome work. Shout out to Sweet Ma, One Community, I really enjoy both of those platforms, and I really, especially when it comes to this case, because they dissect it all. I'm just doing this overview for those of us that's not in the community to know it all. So remember these faces, remember these names. I feel like, I don't know, I feel it in my bones. I feel like that these people will be called as witnesses and are going to play a bigger role in this than you and I could ever imagine. So see you next video. We're going to break down the lawyers on both sides, see their strengths, their weaknesses, and kind of try to dissect what we can expect coming next. All right, guys, talk to you later. It's your girl Andy Snatch Investigates.